Regulated Beverages meeting will come to order. Today is Tuesday, August 7th, 2018. The first thing on our agenda is Resolution RS 2018-1315, Davis, Scott Davis.
He's next door.
He is. Exempts, I'm actually on it too, so I can do it. Exempts East Nashville Beer Works located at 320 East Trinity Lane from the minimum distance requirements for obtaining a beer permit.
Do we know, did they expand? Do we know they need an exemption?
We do not. Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All for?
Aye.
Any against? Any abstentions? Did you vote on that?
Yeah, you can put me
Okay.
for. I'm not.
I didn't know.
No,
Okay,
it's fine.
I just didn't.
I mean,
I was just curious.
just to add a defense for, this is, unless there's some major complaint, this is just one of many
It's just one of the many we see come
generic
across this.
comes
Oh,
across
yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah.
That's right.
I'm just always curious
That's
why.
right.
Because, I mean, they're operating now, and so he's obviously had a beer permit for a while, so I'm just assuming.
We do it for the stadium, and we do
I
it
think
for
the
all the
state-
downtown people.
We also do it when they add an
I think
extra
they had-
part
I think
to
they
a
had-
deck or something.
Well, it's just something that's got to break that plane.
Yeah, so it could be something like that.
If we'd have gone by Saturday, we probably could have seen.
We could have seen it. Resolution, our second thing on the agenda, Resolution RS 2018-1316, Virture, exempts Goha Ethiopian Restaurant located at 2413 Shoemate Lane from the minimum distance requirements for obtaining a beer permit. I know Ms. Virture is not here, but Mr. Schulman is.
I'm here, and I would request a motion to approve.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All for? Any against? Any abstentions? Moving on to Resolution RS 2018-1317, Roberts, exempts Harding House Beer Brewery located at 904 51st Avenue North from the minimum distance requirement for obtaining a beer permit. And that is because on 51st Avenue North, we have CS zoning 2 parcels back all the way down, and then we have residential. And it has been that way from the beginning of time. And the neighbors are all okay with it. They all signed a sign that they were fine with it. And so I'm okay. I'm supporting this.
I am too.
All for? Any against? Moving on, Resolution 2018-1318, Kendall, exempts Minerva Cocktail Bar located at 1002 Buchanan Street from the minimum distance requirement for obtaining a beer permit.
Do you have a letter?
He does have a letter.
Okay.
Sure does. Thank you for asking. Do we have a motion?
Second.
All for? Any against? Any non-voter? Resolution RS 2018-1308, Scott Davis, requests that the Davidson County Sheriff, the Nashville Fire Department Chief, and the Director of Public Property Administration declare properties at 500 and 506 2nd Avenue North to be surplus upon the vacancy thereof.
Do you have a letter?
We do not have a letter.
Want to move it? Just want to move it because he's here.
So do we have a motion?
Move it to the hill.
Okay. So move it to the hill. Resolution RS 2018-1335, Virture and Roberts, approves an interlocal agreement between the Emergency Communications District for Nashville and Davidson County for the provision of services and reimbursement of costs pertaining to enhanced 911 services.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all for?
The only change in that, we turned in a vehicle to fleet, so it's no longer 5, it's 4 vehicles that we have. And I think I read yesterday when I was here that in the agreement at the time, we had 5 vehicles, but we had to turn in a vehicle, and there are 4 vehicles.
Quit while you're ahead. All for? Any against? I was not being smarty with you. I just mean everybody's for it.
Okay.
Resolution RS 2018-1336, Virture and Roberts, accepts the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant in parentheses, that's JAG, JAG, from the United States Department of Justice to the Metro Nashville Police Department for technology upgrades, supplies for direct support to basic police, in-service, and specialized training.
So moved. Second.
All for? Any against? Resolution RS 2018-1337, Berkshire and Roberts, approves a contract between the Metro government and Intergraph Corporation doing business as Hexagon Safety and Infrastructure to provide ongoing support and maintenance for the Integrated Advanced Records Management System, ARMS, in pursuit of Records Management System.
So moved.
Second.
Any against? All right. Resolution RS 2018-1338, Vercher and Roberts, approves a contract between the Metro government and Infor Inc. to provide maintenance and support of workforce time and attendance software for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
So moved.
Second.
All for? Any against? Resolution RS 2018-1339, Roberts, approves a clinical affiliation agreement between the State of Tennessee by and through Volunteer State Community College and the Nashville Fire Department for the participation in clinical training of students enrolled in the emergency medical technician programs for the institution.
So moved.
Second? We have a second? Oh, all for? Any against? Would you like to vote on that?
Are we good or are we?
Yeah, you're
We're good.
I wasn't listening.
We're good, that's okay, okay. Moving on, second substitute bill. No,
No, I just feel like I'll get Davis since we had an extra body.
second substitute bill, BL 2018-1202, LROD. Approved, amends the Metro Code of Laws to regulate operators of systems of shared urban mobility devices, such as bicycles and scooters, and to establish a permitting system for the same. We have a letter. We have a proposed amendment, which I'm happy to read if anyone would like, but I'd prefer not to, since it's 15 or 20 pages.
Is there one amendment or two amendments? There was.
I think the third bill has a bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Wanted to
That's
take
what,
those up.
that's why I left, well, why, how I had to leave there. They were in the middle of discussion of those amendments.
Do you want to move this to the Hill and let Elrod
Yes.
come talk to us?
Yes.
He's not the sponsor of some of the amendments now. Some of them are Councilor Allen and
Or,
O'Connell.
This is only the second substitute bill, so he is the
That
only
is-
sponsor. This is all that's before us today.
Which one? Read that-
1202.
Read that again.
Amends the Metro Code of Laws to regulate operators of systems of shared urban mobility devices, such as bicycles and scooters, and to establish a permitting system for same, S-A-M-E.
I don't know. He had one that he didn't, that it was voted down, but I don't think that was it. So
Well,
we need to have
unfortunately,
him.
we're at the end of we have this and Scott's, so we either have to go back and do Scott. We're going to put this on the Hill for now. We're going to go back.
Scott sent a letter, just checking.
He did not.
Okay, he was here a second ago.
He
No,
is
yeah, he's here.
Oh,
I
he
just
is here.
talked to him.
Okay.
Told him to come next door, but
Want me to grab him?
He's already,
Yes, if you could.
we just run the codes committee. He's there. He's the reason I'm late.
Important bill to me, actually.
no, yours is good.
Might already be on it.
His was good.
Yeah,
He
his is
thinks
good.
is the.
He thinks it's other, but it's going to motivate him to go get Scott Davis.
Bicycle tail, that mean I gotta get a permit from my
Yes, sir.
4-year-old kid?
Yes, sir.
Good, cause I'm picking bringing bills from people that usually ride in lanes, bike lanes.
I think that's a great idea.
I'm kidding, of course. Okay, I was just kidding. There's no.
And Councilman Davis is here. So we'll go back and pick this resolution RS 2018-1308. Scott Davis requests that the Davidson County Sheriff, the Nashville Fire Department Chief, and the Director of Public Property Administration declare properties at 500 and 506 Second Avenue North to be surplus upon the vacancy thereof.
I think in finance, we moved it we deferred it for, what, 3 meetings?
Okay, so what is that?
I think it was, I apologize,
It was deferred.
Yeah, I deferred it.
Do you have any idea how long?
I want to say to the first meeting in October, well, go ahead.
Why don't we just wait till, Budget and Finance will read theirs first? And
because
just-
I've got to turn this in. So
Oh, you've got it, oh, right.
we're
I was
gonna
just wondering if we could just say, hey,
defer
we'll
how
just
about
do that.
deferred to track with,
The bill.
Yeah, I make a motion
Oh,
to
yeah.
defer this to track with what budget and finance has decided.
so moved. Do we have a second? All for?
Yes.
Any against? All right, we'll pick up this last one, and hopefully Mr. Elrod is available. Has anybody seen him in the hall?
Elrod?
All right.
Oh, wait, hey,
Yes, sir.
He's still,
this is fine.
You already did that one?
Yeah,
Have
you're
your resolution?
good.
You want me to get Elrod's?
Yes, please.
Discussion on this regardless. since
Well,
nobody's
Elrod?
here, this-
Absolutely, we
That
can.
was mine, Vince.
that
It's
way
all
we're
for
not
you.
just wasting time. saying
So
again.
while, in the interim, we're
Anybody
gonna,
mind if we open discussion on this
so the
without?
second substitute
one?
bill, Elrod,
Oh, yeah, we can talk, yeah, because you got a letter, right?
They're still in session in there.
Okay.
Works.
he don't, yes, we have the proposed amendments.
So we have the letter?
No, we have proposed amendments, yeah, that's it.
There's a bunch.
Oh, I get that, but I don't know.
So yes, let's open up, you can open up the,
how many, which ones are we discussing?
We only got the one,
we just have 2018-1202.
we got the actual bill. That's the actual bill, right?
It's the actual bill.
I guess he's gonna have to try to move those amendments.
On the floor.
Well, before we have to talk about them here, I think they have to be moved, don't they? I don't know.
No, well, we can talk about the bill and he can bring it on the floor with it. He has to vote on the amendment.
This is 20-something pages, so I will not be reading.
Oh, and there are proposed amendments from Councilman Elrod, Councilman O'Connell, and Council Lady Allen.
Yeah, regarding the speed and other things.
So I guess,
I don't think we, unless we get an informed presentation from him as to what he's wanting,
I agree.
And we don't, sorry.
which legally, he's not here, so as long as, I mean, if we don't go seek him or we stay in session, it would, I mean, procedurally, it'd have to be deferred.
Well, we can take no action too, because they're gonna be covering it there.
correct.
As long as one,
This is
as
going
long
to
as
track
one,
from public safety or
hears it.
public works to public safety to convention and tourism, which is kind of insane, but
Well, yeah, but it still have to, we have to
You still have to vote on it.
I don't know.
rule on one way or another.
Can I ask a question of the
Yes,
police department?
yes, please.
Sure.
I'd love to hear you guys weigh in on this.
I haven't had a discussion with Chief Anderson about it. I have reviewed some of the earlier versions of the bill. Just looking at it, the concern that I passed on over to Traffic and Parking Commission, I think. I haven't heard what the outcome of that is, but just read through the earlier versions of the bill. I haven't seen the latest one. Is the citation process was the only person that looked like was we could cite, hold accountable is the company. There didn't, in the earlier versions at least, there was a process whereby you could cite the person riding the scooter unless, of course, they violate some other existing ordinance. So that was one of the biggest issues I saw.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, go ahead, you're not finished, go.
Go.
I apologize.
And you're going right to the heart of the question that I really have. And in conversations with Bird, Lime, and a company called Roller, which is out of San Francisco and Santa Monica, they want us, or you, to cite the rider, but there's no way to find the rider.
I was thinking that Bird, or this was actually going directly towards the company.
Yeah, it would have to.
I was thinking that's the way the bill is. Unless the last iteration
that
has
bill, too.
changed it.
Is this the Bird bill?
No,
It's something
this is
else?
just Councilman Elrod, 1202.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
It's a substitute. Did you build a deck or something? What'd you do to?
It is the Bird Roller.
So, yeah, it's weird.
And-
Our
and
very edge
I'm
of the
gonna
property
assume-
is within 100 feet.
Yeah.
So it's the very.
You're more comfortable with just citing the company than having to track down hundreds of people every
Yeah,
day?
it's already, we have one that deck, it's already included. but-
Again, I can't speak for Chief Anderson on the official position of the department. My point in reading what I read was, I understand where you might want to cite the company in some cases, but there are some provisions in there that are almost like rules of the road. And there's no, in the version that I read, there's no provision where you can cite the actual rider of the device. for violating what would otherwise kind of be rules of the road, all the citations would go to the company. So what deterrence is there for me to comply with the metro ordinance as a
Yeah,
rider
zero.
if I'm not getting a citation for violating?
But then again, it goes back to the old traffic citations. You write someone from out, a tourist from out of the state, you had, they suffer ramifications by either through revocation of their license. But here, you have no recourse,
Yeah, none.
and we'll end up with just, if we do it by the person, we'll end up with a lot of citations that are outstanding.
Well, I'm assuming they can track it by a credit card.
I think
How does
that's
it-
what they're going to do, is track it, is penalize the company.
So if the company's penalized, the company can pass that along to the
I'm sure they
credit
will.
card, because that actually will.
That's exactly what they'll do.
I'll
Yeah.
get to you just one second. So actually, that would be going directly to the person.
Yeah, monetarily it will be, yes. But it won't go to, well, the funds end up in the same place.
It's the same thing, it's still,
In the general fund, but
yeah.
yes, they go, but that doesn't sound like what they're saying they want. They're saying they're more of, they want the individual cited versus,
Again, I have not gotten guidance from Chief Anderson on the police department's position on this. I'm speaking from having reviewed the earlier versions of the bill. That was one of the issues that I personally saw with it,
Okay.
was the issue of deterrence if the citations go into the company for all offenses and none to the rider.
It's like Airbnb, though, they'll pass those along, so that person will
I'm
get
sure they will.
dinged. So I guess if you have enough dings, you can't rent with them anymore, or something like that. And the funds are going to the
I'm just
police.
people that just going to the police department to enforce, because they ain't got a damn thing to do with it.
Well, they don't have anything to do downtown. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Katie Lane Bailey from Waller. We represent Lime. So I think I can bring a little bit of clarification to what Amendment A does. So Amendment A is Chairman Elrod's attempt to,
We're not addressing that today.
we're just on the main.
Amendment 1202 is all we're looking at.
well, so in Amendment, okay, well, your concern is a result of the Traffic and Parking Commission meeting that, so in M, that actually is addressed. So we'd actually discussed this with Chief Anderson and how we could potentially address that because we needed to clarify that if you all identified someone who maybe was driving under the influence, that there was a moving violation, that they could be assessed a penalty in addition to penalizing, or a fee could be assessed to the owner of the SUMD in addition to the operator. So we tried to address that in this.
Is that the late file amendment? Because all I have is L, is the last one.
No, sir, this was filed on the Friday.
JKL.
So at the end of the day, without Councilman Elrod here, we really can't vote on this as it is today. So I suggest that we defer this, and I'm open to,
I'll make a motion to defer.
okay? And a second?
Is there anybody else on this bill besides him?
Not us all.
No.
On the original bill?
We'll have plenty of time to chat about this in chamber, in council.
I know, but we still won't come up with a recommendation unless we can report.
I got another committee to go to.
Well, we can vote
You can
to
report.
move it.
I mean, you can have an actual committee report during the council, which we've done in the past.
He would just want you to go for the substitute.
But here's the thing.
We don't have any substitutes.
His amendment is the substitute.
But here's
We
the
don't
thing.
have any
We don't have
amendments.
him to even talk about the bill. So we can't do anything. We don't have him to.
That's what I'm saying. I said we can actually have it during the council meeting when he is talking about it.
But we can't vote on it then. We got to vote on something now.
No, we can vote on it. You remember, we've had a committee meeting. It's actually when we all took our vote. Remember, the vice mayor would ask, is there any objection to the vote for the committee during the regular vote?
No, I don't remember that.
Okay, well, you can.
Yeah, it's happened once or
It's
twice.
happened, yes.
Rarely, but.
It's happened.
Councilman
What it
Butler.
is,
It could happen.
just, we can vote. I make a motion, we just take.
We may have activity. But you got 30 seconds.
We'll have another committee meeting to go to.
I do too.
What time is it?
So we have a table,
6:37.
we have it on the table to defer it. Do we have a second?
I would ask that you refine your motion to, let's make a motion to take no action. Rather than
I don't think we can. We don't even have him there.
How many do we need? How many?
Four. We have a quorum.
We have a quorum.
So we either have to defer it, take no
There's a
action, or
motion, there's
vote
a
on
motion on the floor.
or vote on the floor.
To defer.
To defer, is there a second?
Stone.
Okay,
Sorry.
so,
That's fine, I don't care.
Motion
I was
fails.
just like, hey, there's a motion,
Okay.
so
Now, I
now.
would make a motion that the committee take no official action on this,
With an explanation.
with an explanation given by you that the sponsor was not available due to commitments that he was chairing another committee meeting.
what do you all see as the huge difference between a deferral and what we're doing right there?
More words.
No.
You're
No,
deferring
deferral.
you're deferring with an explanation.
I'm happy to do that, but that is technically by all things a deferral.
Taking no action.
Taking no action is literally taking no action.
Right, and it gives the vice mayor an opportunity to,
To take a committee vote on the floor. Yes,
Okay,
exactly right.
so,
Whereas
So are
if we
you-
defer it,
so are
it's
then
deferred.
you're going back in my cobwebs here.
Are we
but
just
that's-
dead set on
I mean, that's
this
where-
committee actually voting on it?
What-
Or is that where you're?
yes, do you think it's going to fall on this committee? Do you think it's going to live or die?
No, that's why they're still in session, because they're voting on all the amendments.
Correct.
So I'm going to second that motion to defer, because it's still on the table. I just seconded it. All for?
Aye.
Aye. All against?
Aye.
So it's 2-2 to defer.
Still Stonewall.
Stone.
So, some of this, we can't make up our mind to do anything.
There we go. Meeting adjourned.
Amen.
Hey,